Are you seeking to transition from a 9-to-5 role to self-employment or running your own business? Do you have an excellent business idea, but the thought of leaving the financial security of your job stops you from pursuing your dreams? I can relate. Back in 2009, this was me too, and today the word entrepreneur is part of our normal vocabulary. But one thing you need to realize before you fire your boss to enter the world of business is that there's no such thing as becoming an overnight success. It takes planning, strategy, and intentional, consistent action to get results. So if you're thinking about pursuing self-employment or running your own company, here are 6 steps you'll need to do to prepare yourself before you set out on your entrepreneurial journey properly. Hi, Jessica Ann here, and after speaking to hundreds of students, professionals, and training people on developing their personal brand, one question I get asked a lot is, how did you start your business? For myself, like most of you, I was first an employee with a dream to start my fashion empire. I was lucky enough to know exactly what I wanted to do, so my 5 years experience within the fashion industry as an employee was strategically planned, and the 3 jobs I had were strategically planned in preparation to start my own business in Sydney, Australia, which I did in 2009. However, it didn't come easy. I had to do a lot of preparation before I ventured off on my own, because not only was I going to fire my boss, but I was also going to move to a new country where no one knew who I was, and I knew that I had to fund my move, my day-to-day living and training I knew I needed to do, as well as fund my business startup. So before you go out and fire your boss, I've created a handy guide with a link below with the tips I mentioned in this video that you could keep as a checklist of what you need to do before you decide to quit your 9-to-5 and enter the world of entrepreneurship. Now let's get started. We're going to cover 6 steps you'll need to do before you fire your boss and start a business. First step is do your research. The world of business is most certainly not for faint of heart. If you're seeking to pursue your dreams and start a business, then you must be realistic. The number of people I've met who claim to have a business but really they have an expensive hobby is astounding. Don't be one of those people. Validate your ideas. Get prototypes made if you're looking to get into the product industry, and find a group of people to test it, buy it, and gain feedback. If you're seeking to get into the service-based industry, identify your niche target audience, and on your days off, produce the service for them. Even if it's pro bono, do something that gives you certainty as you're contemplating leaving the financial stability of your job, that you're creating a business that people will happily pay you for. Also, you'd want to determine what your activities on a day-to-day basis will look like. Chances are there'll be non-income producing activities you'll need to do, and the best time to do those is when you're receiving an income from your job. I'll talk more about this in the 3rd step, but do thoroughly research your niche area and have clarity around what your new normal day-to-day will look like. You'll be in for less of a shock, and you'll be more accountable to yourself. The 2nd step is network. By far, the most valuable thing I did in preparing for business was by intentionally building my network. I began social creeping people on LinkedIn. I know that sounds creepy, but it isn't, I promise. What I mean by this is I created an intentional list through my research process of people I wanted to connect with and develop a genuine relationship with. So an example of this, and just to give you a little context, is I knew I wanted to be a celebrity stylist. So I researched all the types of people who would serve my ideal client. And they were photographers, makeup artists, hairstylists, creative directors, and I started building relationships with those people. So when I moved to Sydney, I knew I needed a portfolio to showcase my work. So I paid these people to work with me on my shoot. And because I had already built rapport and paid them to help me shoot my portfolio, when it came for me to ask them, do you know anyone looking for a stylist? Sure enough, they did. And that's how I landed my first contract, working with a fashion agency styling celebrities for a Sunday Style magazine. And that led to Australia's Next Top Model and working with Naomi Campbell on her Australian series, The Face. It took one contact of intentional networking to make that happen, whereas most stylists spend years trying to achieve that result, and I accomplished it within a few weeks of my move. The 3rd step is get organized and build your foundations. There's a lot that goes into operating your own business, and some of these things may even surprise you. So before you fire your boss and start your entrepreneurial journey in the research phase, I recommend starting to get the pieces of the operational plan in place. And these are non-direct income producing activities I was talking about in step 1. And I say non-direct as they don't tend to impact your bottom line straight away. For example, if you're going into the product-based business, do you need an import license, term of trade agreements? Do you need advice on setting up a company? Are there laws and regulations within your country that creates a barrier for you to run your business that you'll need to consult with a lawyer? Then seeking an accountant to set up your business banking account. Insurances you might need. Perhaps you'll need to set up on Xerox or an accounting software to run the financial side of your business, and also build out a startup cost and revenue plan so you can set financial goals and targets for yourself. Before you leave your job, I highly recommend doing a lean canvas business model so you can map out your operational structure. Again, going back to working with a lawyer, if you're going into a partnership or a service-based industry, are there contracts and other necessary paperwork you'd need to draft up? Other tasks would be building out your website, your media kit, press plan, and back to step 2, creating a list of companies, influencers, people you'd like to be interested in speaking with. Do get proper advice. I learned this the hard way with my 4th business, which was a partnership setup. And even though I sought a lawyer, I was too lazy to put a proper contract in place. And as a result, that business went pear-shaped and it was almost the death of me. So get your operations sorted. Then you know once you leave your job that you'll be in a better position to hit the ground running, pursuing your business and focusing on sales and marketing once you've had all your operational to-dos sorted, which takes time and money. So you're better off doing those while you're earning. And this also brings me to step 4, which is plan your financials. So before you start self-employment or your own company, firstly, you'd want to accept the fact that you're not necessarily going to know where your next paycheck is coming from. And depending on the type of business you're setting up, there could be a delay from the time that you deliver the service or sell the product to when income is realized in your business bank account. So what this means is not only do you need to determine how much it will cost you to start your business up, but also you need to know how much it's going to cost you to run your business for the next 6 to 12 months. Therefore, you'd want to prepare for those inevitable times that you won't have steady pay coming in. When I moved from Sydney to London in 2014, I made a silly mistake of not calculating the exchange rate. In my mind, I was moving with 100k plus in liquid cash in my bank for my business startup. But after the exchange rate, that was as little as £50,000. So what that meant for me is that I had to reduce my living expenses to fund my 3rd business setup. And that was hard for me as it was unplanned, and it meant I had to go flatting and live a simple life, which there's nothing wrong with that. This was a blessing in disguise, and I can appreciate and understand that not everyone will be in this position, but my point is you need to evaluate your living costs and set up a personal cash flow to understand your living expenses, and where possible, reduce this expense to live within your means, as well as know your numbers for your startup and your operating cash flow for your business. Knowing that I was going to move into one of the most expensive cities in the world, again, not knowing anyone and no one knew me, to set off on my 3rd business venture in the new country, I knew I had to get a handle on my finances by building out an income and expense worksheet. And the blessing in this situation is I was able to set financial goals and targets to work towards, which motivated me to sell. So before you leave your job, I highly recommend knowing your numbers and doing the math so you can prepare by saving enough to cover the first 6 months or a year, whichever makes sense to you and is most comfortable for you. You'll be far better off down the line for having done so. The 5th step is to stay true to your vision and think long term. And the reason why I share this with you is because when you begin working for yourself, you'll feel the need to say yes to other enticing projects that come your way, which I refer to as SOS syndrome, shiny object syndrome. Because there will be fear and doubt of the unknown. And business, in fact, us humans, we need certainty. But when you accept projects or clients that you don't feel passionate about, you're going against a great perk when it comes to working for yourself, and that's the ability to say no. I had to learn this from my fourth business venture the hard way, because prior to that experience, I was a people-pleasing, yes ma'am kind of girl, and as much as I know it's easy to grab onto low-hanging fruit and go for a deal that will make you money to pay your bills, you shouldn't take on work that you don't feel capable of delivering on, nor for people or brands that don't make you feel invested in the work. If you begin to take on projects you're not excited about, not only are you limiting the hours you have a month to pursue your dream, but you also limit jobs or contracts that will give you not only an income but also personal fulfillment. And finally, the sixth step is to build the foundations of your brand. And no, I'm not talking about your business brand here, as this is based on reputation, and to have a reputation you need to deliver on results, which means you need to make sales. I'm talking about your personal brand, which is similar to a business brand because again, it's based on reputation. But most importantly, your personal brand is the backbone to every entrepreneur and your ability to effectively present, market, and sell your ideas. My personal brand has been the deciding factor to all the great wins I've achieved in my entrepreneurial journey. And as I like to say, your CV gets you in the door, but your personal brand wins you the job. And this is something I teach. So I've created a separate video called Learn 3 Secrets to a Personal Brand That Attracts and Converts. And I'll drop a link below so that you can watch this after. Those are my 6 steps that you can do before you fire your boss. And I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I sincerely give you praise and a virtual high five, as starting your own business isn't easy, but it's worth it, especially when you prepare. Now, I've got a question for you. Do you have any great tips you're either considering or you've done to help you prepare for starting a business? Leave a comment below, as you'll most likely help someone who's watching. And did you enjoy this video? If so, hit the bell and please subscribe to this channel. And I would be honored if you shared it with your friends, your family, your work colleagues, clients, business network, or anyone you know who's contemplating on firing their boss to start a business. And also, if you'd like to ensure that you get this week's free download, plus other insights and tips that I only share in email, head on over to createthebrandyu.com and sign up to receive email updates. Remember, you deserve to be known for the one thing you are great at. Create the brand that is you, so you can turn your passion into profits and live the ideal life you were meant to live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next week on Jessica Ann TV. Bye for now.